momentarily. There's
Challenge accepted.
You made me laugh, but you didn't shock me.
What?
That was great. I loved it. That was awesome.
All right, now I'm ready. That was
Are
frantic.
are you sure you all in place?
Yeah. I was in a frantic mess trying to figure out this internet stuff. Ugh. Wi-Fi. Ugh. So not
Yeah,
technical.
what you don't know is that Amber rebooted her modem or router like a half hour or sometime like that ago,
Yeah.
and it didn't reset properly. And so like 15 minutes before we're supposed to come on the air here to speak with everybody, she goes, I don't have internet. What am I going to do? Well, you reboot that sucker and keep your fingers crossed.
Yay!
And it worked. You
Yes.
survived. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Oh, I'm doing great.
As always.
Fantastic day here in North Florida. It's only 85 degrees, which for us,
Wow.
that's like a major, it's like a perfect, beautiful day.
I have no
Just
idea
can't
how
beat
hot
it.
it is here, but it's a beautiful day.
Great, great, fantastic. Well, let's get after it. As we
All
tend
right.
to start this off, I want to welcome folks to this practice session of our KetovoreKast. I'm host A, your thankful carnivore, Brett. And then we have host B, the lovely, pretty, much prettier than me, Amber.
Howdy.
Lone Star Keto Girl. Lone Star Keto Girl. I keep wanting to say gal. I don't know why. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so like we try to start, we always start talking about issues that are going on with us that we're experiencing in our carnivorous journey. Amber was on a ketogenic diet for a couple of years. Matter of fact, your 2-year ketoversary just passed here recently,
Yes,
didn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
Wednesday, yeah.
And you've been carnivore now for 95 days,
Yes.
right? See, I'm paying attention.
Ah, you're reading my posts.
I'm actually reading what you post. Yes, it's called Staying Informed and on the right side of the tracks. Because you don't want to come in here and go, what'd you post? I'm sorry. Anyway,
No.
we each take turns sharing if we're having any issues at the beginning of this, and I'll share the issue that I've been having here the last few days. And it's a quite common thing for folks when they first start doing carnivory. And for me, it kind of went away, and now it's reared its ugly head, and that's those silly, infernal lower leg foot cramps that rear their ugly, nasty heads periodically. I had increased my exercise over the last couple of weeks, and gradually, even though I was still supplementing with magnesium, as I had all along, they suddenly started getting worse. And I had a couple of nights where Brett only got like 4 hours sleep, and that wasn't too much fun.
Like, what kind of cramps are they exactly?
I don't know what the correct term for them is. They're like, you've watched football. I'm sure you're a Texan. I know you watch football.
No, that's the one Texan thing I am not.
Oh, you're not. Well, you've
No,
seen
no.
people, athletes get leg cramps, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, where they have to push the toe back towards the person's head type kind of thing. Well, they're like that, only they're in very small areas.
Is it in the calf, though?
Well, it's actually been, for me, it's been more in my shin and in my ankle and in my feet.
That's interesting.
And it's really bizarre because at times it feels like my shin wants to kiss my big toe. That's not really all that pleasant. I'm laughing about it. And then there are times when there's these little muscles in and around my ankles, and I think my foot's trying to unscrew itself. And the only thing you can do, it happens in the middle of the night. You wake up, it's like, what's going on? My body's flaking out on me. And all you can really do is stand up. And I have magnesium spray that I keep on the side of at the bedstand. Hello, Scott Mislinski, KetovoreKast man. It's good to see you, good sir. Anyway, And, you spray the magnesium spray on and you rub it in and you kind of might wait for a couple of minutes, which when you're trying to go to sleep and you want that cramp to end seems like hours. But it's an annoyance. It'll pass. I've checked with the veterans who've been living this way for quite some time. When I say quite some time, I mean at least 5 to 10 years. And they report it just comes along every so often. And I had the good fortune of speaking to this issue with Danny Vega yesterday. Shout out to Danny Vega and his wife, Mara, Fat Fueled Mom. They're great folks. We had a great discussion yesterday. And he just said, what have you been doing different? And then the only thing I could come up with, I've increased my exercise.
Yeah.
I've been walking, 20 miles a week and working out harder at the gym. And he's like, well, remember, you're in Florida. It's summertime. It's a lot hotter, even though, and I think this is where I made the mistake. I assume because the heat really doesn't bother me now, that I didn't have anything to worry about. But he's right. More nutrients are literally being baked out of my body when I'm taking those 2 and 4 mile walks in the afternoon.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Degrees.
You're walking back and forth as well as working out.
Exactly.
So.
And so we're going to just increase the fat intake and salt intake a little bit. I slept a lot better last night.
Oh, good.
And the cramp waited until 5 after 4 to hit me, which is good because I'm usually up between 4 and 4:30 anyway. But we're going to work really hard to get rid of that. And something else I'm going to start doing too is I'm going to start having, instead of just 8 to 10 ounces of bone broth, I'm going to up that to at least 12.
What about a banana? Yeah, I went there. Okay, was that a shock? How about that one?
That was funny. You haven't shocked me. That was funny. When you see that's the shock look, okay? Until then, no. Amber thinks that she could shock me, and
oh, I'm going to.
And the thing is, was a performing musician for over 25 years. Playing in clubs, being around drunk people, drugged people all the time. I saw the worst of humanity you could possibly see, and some of the craziest things I will never speak about because nobody needs to have that in their heads ever. And you really can't shock me. You might make me sick, but you won't shock me.
I'm going to shock you.
Amber's on it. Lone Star Keto Gal is on a mission to shock the thankful carnivore.
And if anybody has any ideas, let me know.
That's what she needs is more help. Anyway, so that's been my issue that I've been dealing with is carnivore related. What about you?
Well, just real quick about the cramping, what you described, like along the shins, I actually do have that issue on weekends when we go dancing, and especially when we danced a whole lot. The next morning, if I barely move my toes up or back, I'm like, oh, stop, no. But it's not horrible, but it's enough where it feels like it's just about to lock. And so I do have that occasionally. I think I know what you're talking about now. At first, I was like, no, I don't get cramps, but actually, I kind of do. So I do have that.
You could see how trying to sleep through that's pretty much impossible.
Yeah. Occasionally I will wake up and, keep in my head, don't do that, don't point your toes, don't put your toes back, no, just keep them neutral. Yeah, so.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, finish.
It reminded me of something that I think is important, especially for folks who are new to this way of eating, because these cramps are basically caused, it's not because you're deficient in magnesium. There's just not magnesium ready in that part of the body. And I'm talking about, we're talking about, I can literally watch the back of my calf and see this in action and tell when I need to eat some salt or something. Yeah. Because you can watch my muscle in my calf in different places literally contract. And I can feel that. It's like little bubbles.
I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
And it's very disconcerting the first few times it happens until you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Nothing's being damaged. There's no harm. So if you ever experience that, relax, go increase your salt intake just a little bit, and maybe invest in some magnesium supplement. Now, I recommend the drops, which I use. I put in with my bone broth every evening because that's the only way it's palatable, because that stuff is not, that's the nastiest tasting thing
I've never
ever
tried
put in
it.
my mouth.
Mm-mm.
Not recommended for flavor. But, and the magnesium spray. And
I want
what
to
I'm
get
gonna do,
that.
yeah, that works really well. And it's not too hard on the skin. My wife's used it. She doesn't have this problem anymore. And I'm extremely jealous of her for that. She really does. And she's on her feet all day, every day at her job. And she doesn't have any cramps whatsoever. So, it's also part of the fact I'm still healing.
Yeah.
This is going to come up.
Me too.
Anyway, I want to thank everybody. We've got 8 folks in chat right now. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Even if, we always kind of stop our discussion for your all's questions, because we really want to hear from you.
Yes, for sure.
Don't be afraid to jump in with something if you have a question. All righty then. Let's move on to the issue of family discussions. I understand that you've had some we've all experienced this at different levels.
Yes.
Family members, this can be a real problem for some families. They hear about you're eating keto, you're paleo, you're really low carb, or you're carnivore.
Yeah. Extreme.
I don't think they really look at you like you're insane until you say carnivore, probably. But
I
never did keto to know. I never did keto specifically to know this. So what have you run into, dear?
Well, I've actually had some hostility, centered around me. And the funny thing is, at a particular family gathering, there was much of my family there, and I had brought my own food. It's just something I do. I don't ask anybody to make any exceptions for me or anything special. I just take care of myself. It's not a big deal. I don't make a big deal out of it. But some of my family members were just inquiring, like, why aren't you eating the, barbecue or the beans or whatever, And so I just kind of said a few things, And then they started wanting to know more about it because they were curious. And I had, dropped 62 pounds, and I was wearing, a size 02 shorts and this little shirt. And they're like, whoa, So they wanted to know. And I just said a few things, nothing major. And then a family member got so upset about it. She was like, it's just ridiculous. I just can't hear any more of this, and slammed her chair into the table and walked off. And the family member who had asked me, about it, she was like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I don't even know. So I don't really understand the hostility, because I'm not asking anybody else to do it. I'm not shoving my way of eating down anybody's throat. If somebody asks me, I will answer, and that's it. So I don't really understand how people can be upset about something, number one, they don't know anything about. And number two, that has nothing to do with them. Nobody's forcing them. So it's a very big confusion thing for me. I just don't get it. I mean, I would never be angry with somebody if they ate different than me. I may kind of go, yeah, you're a little nutso, but, whatever. You do you, I do me, whatever. So I don't really understand, but yeah.
Yeah, that had to have been an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
I as many know, and I haven't been shy. I've been real public about this. I'm going back to my hometown back in West Virginia in 6 days.
Yay.
Or five days now, actually. I've learned to count. I'm already counting like I went to school there again. Anyway, that's a joke us West Virginians use amongst one another, all right?
Uh-huh.
Especially if you grew up in Wayne County. In Wayne County, we were, if you're counting Wayne County style, that meant you took your socks off. It was a running joke. Anyway, I know there's going to be some pushback. I just don't know which family member it's going to come from. And my goal, my plan, I'm actually going in with a plan, because you got to realize these people have not only not seen me as a carnivore, hey, Rising Phoenix, but they've also not seen me sane. They've never known me that I wasn't suffering from mental illness. They've never been around me that I wasn't suffering from mental illness at some level. So it's going to be a whole new world, just as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So my plan is to not really talk much about food except with what I need to eat, with what I've got to cook and things like that, because I'll be cooking my own meals.
Good for you.
My mom's 80 years old. I'm not going to have her stand at the stove and measure out ground beef for me and all this kind of nonsense. We got a question. Where do you guys go to snacks? Mine is cheese. Sometimes I'm hungry but don't want to cook. Okay, I'll address this first and then you can jump on it, Amber.
Okay.
I only eat when I am hungry. And when I'm hungry, I eat until I'm not another bite full, Wayne. And thank you so much for coming in and for your question. And it's so important for folks when they're starting out in carnivory to get this. If you eat until you're not another bite full, you're not going to want a snack until the next time you're really hungry. You're just not. I have never a single time, not even in my first month, felt the urge or the need to snack or nibble on anything until the next time I was really hungry. And that's the answer to that question. Cheese, cheese is dairy. Your first 30 days, I recommend no dairy whatsoever, because it's proven to be a stumbling block. The focus should always be on consuming as much meat and animal fat as you can, because meat, the protein that's in the meat, is structure and health, but neither of those things start happening. You know, protein builds muscles, it repairs tissue, it does all these things we need it to do, but without the fat, it doesn't have the energy to do any of them. So we have to have enough fat as well. Mm-hmm. That's my answer, Wayne. Now let's hear what Amber has to say.
Hi, Wayne. I am not a snacker, and I never really have been, to be honest. So when I feel the need to have something a little different than just plain meat, occasionally I'll have pork rinds, but I eat it with my dinner, and it's kind of because I just want something crunchy at the time. But I'm not eating between my meals. I only eat twice a day. I eat lunch and dinner, and I eat enough and the right kinds of food. My ear thing keeps coming out. So, but I eat enough of the fat and the protein that I don't really feel the need to snack. Sometimes it's a psychological thing. It's something that you've done, and it's like a busy thing, like smoking. You know, it's part of this too, not just the nicotine. It's a habit thing. So it could be that. But if you're actually finding that you need to snack because you're honestly hungry, it's not a psychological thing or a clock thing or whatever, or situational thing like going to the movies or watching TV, those kind of things, then you probably do need to either eat more protein or up your fat a little bit. At the beginning for me, well, actually it was probably, about 3 weeks ago, I was finding myself a little hungry. So I couldn't see myself eating any more protein. I just couldn't. So I added a little bit more fat, and that seemed to, I'm talking just a little, and that really fixed my problem, and I wasn't hungry till I would normally be hungry. So, I think for both of us, neither one of us really are snacker people. And I don't think it was a habit to begin with. I don't know. Maybe in your other life it was. But even when I was obese, I really wasn't a snacker. I just ate really bad stuff. So.
One thing I would like for you to do, I think your microphone got tangled up in your hair a little bit. There you go. We'll hear you a little more clearly. Thank you.
Me try.
That's all right. These things do fall out of our ears.
Is that better?
Okay, somebody's asking, how did you add that fat? How did you, by what method did you do that?
Well, I put a little bit of butter on my ground beef burgers, and I cook in bacon fat, and I didn't drain it or anything. I just kind of let it have that bacon fat in it. So, and I don't use butter right now, but I do have a lot of the bacon grease. So I feel like I'm getting a lot of, that in there, so I don't think I need anything else. And I'm kind of trying to stay away from dairy, period, just to see. if I have any issues. I don't think I do, but I'm just, eliminating everything, and then I'm going to try adding back in later. But for the time being, pretty much my fat is bacon grease and meat, the fat in the meat.
Bacon grease, bacon fat. It's like
Yum.
nectar from heaven, isn't it?
It's
So
gold.
good.
Liquid gold.
Okay. You also had been addressing some energy issues lately.
Yes.
Why don't you share that? What's going on with that with everybody?
Yeah, about the same time I was kind of feeling that hunger too. I started feeling my energy just go meow. Where on keto, I was like this hyperdrive thing, da 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 da. And then all of a sudden I started losing my energy, and it kind of freaked me out because I don't like that. It doesn't feel good. I didn't even know me, and I was like, man, there's something just not right. So I started asking about it. I asked Brett and everything, and it's pretty much seems like it's an adaptation kind of thing. And here the last 3 days, literally these last 3 days, all of a sudden I started having more energy, more energy, more energy. And today I feel pretty darn good. So I'm guessing that was just part of the adaptation part, because I'm fine now. And I haven't changed anything, so.
I think it just underscores the fact that when we give our bodies nothing but nutrition, after years and years of poisoning ourselves with, the toxic carbs and that awful sugar and those nasty toxin-rich plants full of oxalates, phytates, and lectins, eat some nuts. That'll work out for you, and wonder why your arthritis, your inflammation is off the chart. It's crazy. But then when we eliminate that from our diet and become fat burners, and even though you were fat adapted and on a really low carb ketogenic diet,
I was pretty
things
strict too.
changed significantly for you once you eliminated what little bit of carbs and greenery you were consuming. And your body literally went on a whole different program, hadn't it?
It kind of did. I mean, I had no problem transitioning from keto to carnivore. That wasn't a problem. But just, after almost 2 months into it, that's when things started going kind of, what is going on here? So yeah, it's really interesting, because I was thinking, I'm not going to have any issues at all. This is a piece of cake. And the transition was. But for some reason, just that it was about 3 weeks, it kind of made me go, I'm not feeling so great. But nothing major, but enough to not like it. But yeah. Well, apparently those greens, those vegetables, all that kind of stuff really kind of messed with me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's dairy, maybe it's eggs. I don't know, because about that same time, I had eliminated all of that too. Because originally when I started out carnivore, I was doing the other animal foods, eggs and cream and butter and cheese. And then, 3, 4, whatever, I don't know however long it was ago, I eliminated all of that, including eggs. So I don't know, maybe something in there was bothering me. I don't know. We'll see.
I find, and I say I mean me and my wife generally, but we have found that dairy just is problematic for some people. And you don't realize that once you go carnivore, and it might be, as in your case, it was a couple of months before you ran into any issues. And it's just, your body takes a while to kick into healing mode. And when it goes into healing mode on carnivory, you find out that your things that you thought you could tolerate, or that maybe you could tolerate on the keto, really low carb, suddenly you can't tolerate them anymore. And my wife had been in a bit of a weight stall, not that weighing 110 pounds at 5'3"
Seriously.
is really a problem. She looks amazing.
Yeah, she does.
She increased her fat a little bit with more bacon. She just started eating about 4 or 5 more pieces of bacon every day. That's all. And she's now losing weight again.
It's funny how that little bit of a tweak, because I kind of by default did the same thing. A couple of more pieces of bacon, probably 3 pieces more a day. Not that I ate a ton to begin with. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you think a ton is. But maybe that's the difference. I don't know. But seriously, the last, 3 days or so, I've been feeling pretty good.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Because let me tell you what, folks, I actively encouraged Amber months ago to please, because she had some health issues that she just couldn't quite get rid of. And we
Hmm.
see this all the time, that people come into carnivory or they do keto, they get really far, they make some amazing progress, but
Yes.
they just can't get off the metformin, or they can't get off
Hmm.
the inflammatories, or they can't get off the blood pressure meds, or the thyroid meds. They just can't get there. But then they go carnivore,
And it
you're
takes
off
it the rest of the way. Yeah.
you're off those meds now, aren't you?
Yeah. Right now, well, I did start taking a magnesium supplement again, but that's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm taking right now. So,
But see, that's a normal thing for a carnivore to need, is the
yeah.
magnesium every once in a
Well,
while.
anyone really nowadays.
Well, it depends on, if you're not cramping, you don't need it.
Mm.
That's the clear sign that you're getting all you need. That's why I'm jealous of my wife, because she doesn't experience any of this. Now, she still has her own bottle on her bed nightstand just in case, but she
Yeah.
hasn't experienced or complained of cramps for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Mm.
So, and I know of other people that have really never had a problem with it.
Well, I took my magnesium
Congrats.
today because we're
Oh,
going
I've
dancing
had this.
tonight. So,
Oh, well, I would also encourage you to invest in some of the drops,
yeah,
and maybe
I
put
want
it
to get
in
that
some bone broth
spray.
before you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that
need to
spray's
get to making
outstanding.
that bone broth. Yeah, I've been kind of bad about that. I have yet to make it. I'm going to get Danielle's recipe. So,
Well, you have her phone number.
yep, I do.
You know where to go get it from.
I do.
Um, okay, an issue that we both have discussed privately, but and I want to throw this question out to the folks in chat too. I know many of us are at different stages of carnivory.
Mhm.
How many of you, and ketogenic diets in general, how many of you, and I'll throw this at Amber first, how hard is it to observe people now in public that
Mhm.
you see are obese? They have the exhaustion, the sunken in
Mhm.
eyes. They have that shuffling kind of brain fog walk gait
Yeah.
going on. I find that really hard. I just want to run up to them and hand them a card that says "Eat meat and drink water," and just, could you please just do this for a while?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't do that without somebody
Right.
getting really upset
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
So, how does that hit you, or does it hit you at all?
It does. It kind of honestly breaks my heart because I look at those people and I'm like, that was me. I mean, I feel such empathy for that person. And, sometimes, like even when we're on a cruise and like say we're at the buffet and the typical what I'm talking about, you see, and then I just look, and my husband will say, yeah, you're kind of staring. You're kind of, I can tell what you're thinking. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to cry. I just want to cry for them. I want to hug them and tell them, you can fix this. I promise, it'll be okay. You can get healthier. You can feel better. And it's not, I'm not judging. It just hurts me because I know what that person has to feel like and been there, done that. So, I just want to help. But like you said, it makes it very difficult. You can't go, hey, I know it's going to fix you. Here's my card, because they're going to go, whatever. So it is difficult. It is very difficult. And it's extremely difficult to see it in your own family when you see people who, are diabetes. Oh my gosh, it's rampant in my family and it's so sad. And, you try to kind of maybe say something a little bit, just by using yourself as an example. And, we're talking people who have lost, parts of their body already because of diabetes. And they're being told, to eat, what is that, 120 grams of carbs at each meal or something crazy. I don't even know. But when they were telling me what they could eat, I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't even think of that. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to see.
I think the hardest part for me is seeing because the first job I took when after I got well enough to go back to work, thanks to carnivory, I was in a big box grocery store, and I saw these people. You know, they'd have 3 or 4 kids. There might be 1 or 2 kids riding in the buggy, and they all had cell phones that they were looking at, and they all were sipping on the juice or munching on some candy or some popcorn. They were eating something. Everybody's eating something while they're walking. I never saw that before. And I don't remember my parents ever, yeah, we're at the grocery store. Here, have some juice. It just never happened. It was shut up and behave. Let me do this. So
Exactly.
Maybe you'll live to eat some of this. Behave. You know? And you just see this, and you know, that sugar is, that apple juice is nothing but sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And these children are already, you can tell they're obese. And I don't mean baby fat. I'm not talking baby fat, Chunky. No. That's got a whole different look.
Yeah.
And you just, what are you people doing to yourselves? Do you not see what you're doing?
Well, did we see? Did we see
No,
what we were
didn't.
doing?
Well,
No.
we did not see. We could not see. We were unaware, or we were lying to ourselves.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, I was also mentally ill. I have an extra excuse, sort of, kind of. But even then, I knew I was eating wrong.
Yeah.
I knew shouldn't have been eating all that cake and all that ice cream, and you know, I was deluding myself. I think that's another part of it. People just have a real hard time being honest with themselves, and I think that's greatly in part due to the inflammation that we know affects the brain, and we know it affects our thinking. And I mean, how many people have you read about or come across with this way of eating that one of the first thing they've noticed is the absence of brain fog and the greater clarity of thought?
A lot. Yeah.
Now, once you can see things clearly, are you acting? I mean, knowing what you know now, could you ever imagine a time, say for an emergency famine type kind of situation, that you would put non-food into your mouth?
No.
I can't either. How do you
I have no desire now. I mean,
how do you unring that bell? How do you unsee what you've seen? You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
And I think that's what makes it really difficult to see folks that are suffering so obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, and even with the younger people, and I see them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you start eating meat and drinking water now, you're going to save yourself so much misery.
Yes.
But
I had my cousin, she messaged me just today, and she had started her 14-year-old daughter on keto, and she was doing it with her to try to kind of help it along. And apparently the withdrawal is so horrible because she was so sugar and carb addicted. It was awful. And you know, the headaches and the not being able to stay awake, and it's just horrible. And she was like, please help me. And I'm like, oh, wow. That alone should tell you how bad it is. And thank goodness she has a mother who is trying to do something now before it gets way out of hand. You know, I mean, high school and being unhealthy and large is not good. And that just sets you up for a lifelong failure, you know, unhealthy, you know.
You're exactly right. And especially in today's school settings or whatnot. I mean, kids were always cruel. They were cruel when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
We were cruel. We knew that.
Yeah.
It's just the way kids are. It's the natural tendency for kids to be cruel to each other. But now I think they've like honed their knives a little more or something than we did. I don't, maybe they're handed them. I don't know, but they seem to be a touch more cruel than they used to be, even in light of the political correctness phenomena that we see that kind of restricts some of that, but not in a healthy manner.
Right.
Basically, the way that I deal when I engage with people like that, when I'm blessed with an opportunity to talk with them, and the issue of food comes up, then I whip out the before and after picture. That's like my greatest weapon, it's the before and after picture. Because then their eyes get real big, the jaw drops, and they always want to know, how did you do it?
Exactly.
And then I get to share with them. But outside of that, all I can do is say a prayer, Lord, let them find out about meat and water just like I did. I don't know
Yes.
of anything else I can do.
I have
So,
cards. I do. I try to keep cards on me. I have this little phone wallet thing. And we were at Cavender's the other day, and I had this little dress. It was pretty cute. And this lady, she was like looking at me, and she was like, "Oh, that's going to be so cute on you." She goes, "I wish I could wear something like that." And I said, "Well, I haven't always been able to wear something like that." And she's like, "Really?" And I said, "Let me show you something." So I pulled out my before afters, and she was like, "Oh my gosh." And so she started asking a lot of questions, and I said, "I got a card for you here. Go to my website, and I have, tons of information there that you can start with." And she was really excited. She goes, "Do you have another card? Because I have a friend who would just probably just love to do this." So I handed out another card. You just never know who you're going to meet and who you can, help to influence in a positive way. But you can't just, like you said, go up, "Hey, you know what? You need this card." It's got to be kind of this organic kind of thing.
somebody's asking a question, and they have a little bit of a statement. I'm going to read it. So, Vic Cosmetics says, "It scares me when my 3-year-old grandbaby comes over and I load him up on bacon and eggs only, knowing he's going home to eat sugar and carbs. Am I hurting him by adding so much fat to his sad diet?" No, you're not. You're not hurting him, especially if he's an active child. Your grandchild's an active child, be a boy or a girl. No, you're not hurting that child. Absolutely not, because you're giving them natural animal source human food that their body
Yeah.
is absorbing 99% of all the nutrients of. Whereas with the carbs and all that other stuff in the standard American diet, good grief, so much of that's what little bit of
Processed stuff.
nutrition, yeah, what little
Yeah.
bit of nutrition is in that mess of garbage is not even bioavailable, most of it.
Exactly.
So you're giving that
Yeah.
grandchild real nutrition.
Yeah, bacon and eggs, I don't see how you can go wrong with that.
Not hardly. Not hardly. Um, let's see. I mentioned protein versus fat. Yeah, I mentioned that already. We got about 22 minutes left. Here's an issue that kind of took Twitter by storm this week for a couple of
Yeah.
days.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, and I believe Amber knows him too, Jason,
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason's a really good guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
lost over 100 pounds on a ketogenic diet. He looks amazing. And he posted a before and after picture this week. And he made a joke about himself, about when he was big, about having moves. And it's something I used to joke about too, because I hated having them. So I made
Mm-hmm.
fun of them. Anyway, somebody attacks him and says, "Stop fat shaming yourself. You shame everyone when you do that." And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
The person is celebrating and pointing out, look at what I did for myself. And he made a
Exactly.
joke about his unhealthy self, and that's shaming? Are we that fragile now?
I'm
Oh
gonna
my
shame
gosh.
myself. Look at those chins. Look, look. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I just shamed myself. But see, I'm not that person anymore. So I can poke fun at myself because that was me, but it's not anymore. And I was able to do something about it. And and being able to look at it differently now is a good thing. If you can joke, I mean, I sure some people use jokes to cover up their hurt. I get that. But I mean, you got to make fun of stuff, to make it not so serious and not so, dramatic. And you're not that person anymore. You're just not. So I don't, yeah, that boggles my mind. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was rather puzzling, the logic and the disordered thinking that has to go into that to come up with
yeah,
that's fat shaming. No, 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 no. He wasn't self-flagellating himself. He wasn't
no,
abusing himself in public and calling himself all kinds of horrible names or anything like that.
nope.
And it's a beautiful before and after picture.
It is, and it was a
And
great post. Yeah, I don't understand.
some people really resent our sharing our stories. I think it's a good portion of it is because they're jealous. They're
And that's
envious.
very possible. Yeah.
They can't conceive of giving up whatever they think they have to give up.
Right.
It's like, I'll share this with you. A dear friend of mine that I do music with, I'm not going to say her name,
Oh, I
but
bet I know.
she informed me that starting in July, she's going to go full carnivore.
Oh.
And this lady, bless her heart, she has been, ever since I went low carb, she's watched all of this. She's watched me transform.
Mm-hmm.
And she's seen that it's real. It's not something, it's not a fad. The weight really does stay off. I've been at the same weight now, 177 to 178, for over 8 months. And my mood has
huge.
stayed this way the whole time.
That's bigger.
It's even bigger. And she's got some problems, and I'm not going to go into all her issues because her story's not mine to tell. But I'm so happy for her. She's she's setting herself up for success because before then has a pre-scheduled vacation with some family members. And if she started now, she'd be setting herself up for failure because she'd be going away somewhere else where she didn't have the same control over food, etc. The family's not aware of it. It would just be a potential
Too
disaster.
stressful. Yeah.
So I applaud her for waiting, and I'm really excited for her because she's going to have one of the most amazing healing recovery stories that either of us have ever come across before if she sticks with it, because the things that she has wrong with her would blow your mind.
Wow. Well, good for her.
Yes, we're really happy about that. And if you're watching when this goes up on other platforms, person who I'm speaking of, we love you, and you know it. We've got about 17 minutes left. Again, I want to encourage folks who are in the chat. We appreciate everybody who's come along in the chat. If you have any questions, we're going to stop and answer your question as soon as I see it, or as soon as Amber sees it, because we appreciate it. That's one of the reasons why we're testing this Instagram live format out. It's because it gives us an opportunity to have a little more organic discussion. Yes. Rather than just us reading off a list of talking points that we agreed on.
Yeah.
Makes it a little more of an organic thing and experience. And let us know what you think. You folks who follow us on Instagram, and I know quite a few of you follow me on Twitter, and some of you follow Amber on Twitter as well. Talk to us. Let us know what you think.
Yes,
in messages or in public or whatnot. You got any suggestions? We're wide open. That's why this is in test mode right now.
Yes.
Something I would like to ask you, since you're 95 days into it, where do you see yourself over the next 90 days with your diet and everything?
I don't really see much changing, honestly, because I'm not missing the things that I've cut out, really. I may try adding in like eggs, and I may see what cheese does, further down, just to see if that's actually something that's not good for me. I like to have that knowledge. I'm one of those people who I want to know what's happening with my body. I want to know, and whether I choose to continue eating or not. But I'm doing very well without the added fiber and all the oxalates and everything else that are in, plant-based foods. And my digestion is so much better. I didn't even know I had an issue. I honestly didn't. I thought on keto compared to what I was like, yeehaw, this is awesome. And then I got on carnivore and I was like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't know it felt like this because my new normal, I was just used to that. I didn't know it could feel better. I don't have any bloating. I don't have gas. I don't have the, all that other stuff that goes on that, you don't want to
That's
talk about
awesome.
polite company, but yeah, so it feels good. It feels really good. And so I'm not interested in that. And it just does nothing for me right now. I mean, there may come a day where I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to have some broccoli. I don't think so, but if it does, okay, whatever. But for the time being, I just don't. I want bacon and I want filet and I want, ground beef and lamb and, I tried elk this week, ground elk, and that was pretty yummy too. So I'm experimenting. And hey, y'all, I even tried liver. You got to watch that video. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't like liver. I'm going to just tell you, I don't like it. No, no, no. I will
I,
grind it up frozen, like shred it frozen, and put it into some beef patties that are like at a 30% ratio. I can do that. So I will do that. And I'm
that you
going to do a
didn't
video soon.
that
What?
you didn't spit it back out on the plate
I
when I
didn't. I
knew
wanted
you
to so
wanted
bad.
to.
Oh my God. That nasty raw, and it was
Uh-huh.
this texture that I can't even explain. It was like, I'll say it's like chewing on a
Okay,
loogie. I mean, seriously, it was so disgusting. But yeah,
we've got
I
it. We've
did
got
it.
another. We've got
Okay.
another
Yeah.
question, my friend. This
Yeah.
again is from our friend Wayne. Do you think I should jump straight into exercise regime as well, or focus only on the way of eating to begin with? I recommend this to everybody. It's a great question, Wayne. Stop the exercise except for maybe taking a walk, because your
I was going to
body's
say
going
that. Yeah.
to undergo a major adaptation
Mhm.
phase that could take anywhere from 3 weeks to 2 years. It can take a long time. It's different for everybody. It's going to depend on how sick you are when you start, how long you were eating garbage and things that you shouldn't have been eating. It depends on what your ailments are. And it's always specific to the individual. And I always recommend wait at least
Glad you're back.
excuse me, 6 weeks before you start implementing, some heavy weightlifting or weight training in general, or running, starting a new kind of physical activity.
For sure.
Yeah, somebody says, I agree. You don't work out to get healthy. You have to get healthy to work out. That is so true.
Absolutely.
That
Yes.
is so true.
It really
So
is.
keep that in mind. And Amber, you have any other points you'd like to add to that?
Well, yeah, because like I was talking about experiencing being super tired. I am just now starting to feel like, I think I may want to go to the gym. And before I'm like, I'm not going to the gym. So I think your body will just naturally let you know when it's ready to do what it needs to do. And I'm kind of getting the feeling I'm about ready to start hitting it. So, and I'm 95 days in. So,
It's interesting that you say that, because my wife Danielle is mentioning more and more that she wants to up the gym membership that I have so that I can bring a guest, her being the
oh,
guest. And she hasn't really thought it all the way through yet, what kind of work, what kind of exercising she wants to do. And I'm not
yeah,
going to say a word, because what will happen the minute I make a suggestion. What will happen? We
yeah.
husbands and wives, you don't have to be married to the same person. You could share that. Husbands and wives know survival skills, married survival skills, and you know when to offer advice, and you know when that advice is only offered when the spouse asks for it.
Yeah, and even then, sometimes you don't because
It's
you're gonna
true.
lose.
You got to be really careful with it. Married people know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
Wayne, some of your strength will come back. It's going to depend. Wayne's saying he hopes his strength will improve simply by eating correctly to begin with. That will go a long way.
yeah,
You have no idea. Your body will literally start to transform. Its shape, your appearance
it's true.
will change drastically. And you've started experiencing some of that recently, haven't you?
Yeah,
Hints
it's
of it?
really weird. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you, and from what I understand, when you're a woman, and I know some people don't like to hear this, but especially at my age, I'll be 53 next month, and you when you start carnivore, there's a possibility that you might gain a little bit of weight. And I'm talking fat. I'm not talking water. I'm talking actual fat. And where I had some loose skin on my belly, it's not bad, but enough. There's some fat accumulated there again. And I'm like, what the heck? No. And I was, I talked to Brett and I said, I think I'm gaining weight. I'm not liking this. Nope, nope, not liking it. And he was like, just trust the process. It's fine. You'll be fine. So I did. I kept on doing the same thing. And again, just here real recently, it's like all these weird things are kind of starting to happen finally, right after I got through whining about it. And my waist, it's really interesting because, okay, I'll just be honest, I have no hips and no butt, okay? It's like this. And so I don't really have a waist because I have no hips for it to do this. And so now I'm starting to get like this little dip in my waist, and it's like, yeah. And so that's really exciting. And the little bit of fat that had accumulated is starting to like just melt away. It's really freaky. And so, yeah, hopefully that continues because I'm just like, am I just imagining this? And my husband's like, no, I've kind of noticed that too. So.
What happens is when you only put nutrition into your body, our bodies will literally transform into the best possible physical condition that we were originally genetically encoded to be. Think about that for a minute. I mean, I'm seeing it in myself. I am still, I've changed physically just in the few months we've known each other. Mm-hmm. I still had some belly flab that I hadn't gotten rid of, and it's almost all gone. I've still got a lot more work to do. I was hoping to have abs before the reunion, but I'm really confident now that by the fall, I'm going to have me some abs and I'm going to show them off.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
I plan to look good in a two-piece when we go on our cruise in October, so I didn't quite get that goal because I just didn't work out and stuff like I should have and done the toning. So this summer, yeah, it's going to have to be one piece. I think you're going to
have the energy. You're going to have
yeah, I'm feeling like I am, so I'm hoping. So
that's awesome. We got about 8 minutes left. If anybody's got another question, this is a good time to ask it. We'll try to get an answer in. I want to let you all know something. Okay, now next week we won't be doing this because I'm going out of town for a few days, and I'm going to be visiting people and hanging out with family that I haven't seen for a long, long time and never have seen when I was sane. Since I was a little boy, since I was like this tall was the last time I was sane around my parents. And so we're going to have a really good time. I'm really looking forward to it. But starting in July, we're going to start try to get these up to a couple times a week when time and life permits. And we're going to build up a nice little foundation of episodes, and then we're going to spring it all on the world full bore sometime next month. It's going to be great.
I have to let y'all know something too. When we first started doing this, when Brett approached me, I was so scared to be in front of a camera because I had such low self-esteem as far in the phantom fat feel. Like when I see myself on video or in pictures, I feel like I still look like that obese person that I was. And so I'm like a camera ninja. It's like the camera comes out, pshoo, I'm gone. And so to be in front of a camera is a huge thing for me. And, just being on keto and carnivore has helped so much with my confidence because I'm healthier, I'm happier, and thinner. And so it just makes me feel so much better that I feel like I am now able to come out and, help others, hopefully. So, yeah, this is a big thing for me. So
pushing boundaries is always important if we want to grow as people.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna brag on you a little bit here, dear. And if you get embarrassed, good.
Oh God.
Because you have come a long way. I remember when the first time when Amber and I first started, because I realized we needed to practice talking to each other and not just get to know each other a little bit, but to develop rapport and whatnot so that you get to see what you're seeing now instead of us being really halting and pauses of uncomfortable silence and all that kind of stuff that you will see when people will start a podcast too soon. And she has come such a long way. Used to be the first month when she would get on camera just to talk, just us talking. You could only see her head.
I did this.
Yeah, she would hide. She would
One of
literally hide.
these.
Yeah, she could hide her face, and you could tell she just was extremely uncomfortable and tried to make herself as small as possible.
Uh-huh.
And
True.
you've come a long way in the videos that you're making and putting up on your own YouTube channel and your Instagram TV are very well done.
Thank
You've
you.
come a long way, and I think you have a bright future at this. I even
Thank
predict
you.
that in time you'll be like, I'm really going to want to do this instead, and you're going to wave to me as you ride off to bigger and better things.
Whatever. No, I still got to shock you, so that might take a while.
Well, that's true. Now, if you can't go on to your next gig until after you shock me, well, you're going to be here a while, lady. I got news for you. We got 4 minutes left. I want to encourage folks to check out the Fat Fueled Family podcast. This is Danny Vega and his wife Mara. They're really good folks. They talk about they've got young kids. They talk a lot about a lot of family issues and things like that. They're related to raising children and raising them to teach them how to eat well. I heard a talk that Danny gave in 2018 at Keto Fest, and he talked about raising sons of virtue. Oh, yes, they're that kind of people, that
Yeah,
kind
I
of
love
quality.
that. Yeah,
So
I enjoy his posts. Yeah.
check out. If you're not following him on Instagram, please do. It's Danny Vega, and then follow his wife at Fat Fueled Mom. Yeah, they also have Fat Fueled Kids for parents and children. They're outstanding human beings. You can't go wrong by following them. I highly recommend them. And we got 3 minutes left. Is there anybody you'd like to plug, recommend?
Oh, put me on the spot at this point.
Yeah, puts you on the spot.
Yeah. I really like the ketogenic girl. She's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she does
And
a really
also the
good job.
paleo pharmacist. I think she's awesome too. I
Oh,
really like
Nevada
her.
is amazing. Yeah, y'all need to
Yeah.
follow the paleo pharmacist if you're not already. She is spectacular. And she's about ready to explode on the world in 2020 in ways that they're going to just blow everybody's mind. Because she's writing a book and she's going to be speaking publicly more often. She's really good and she knows her stuff and she's got a really powerful story. We got a couple minutes left. Wayne, I want to thank you for coming by. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the dads coming up here.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
You guys enjoy yourselves. I hope all you dads get your card and a phone call like you ought to get. And if you
Yes,
can
for
get a
sure.
free meal out, free steak dinner out of it, more's the
Go
better.
for it. Hey,
You
who's
go
going to
for it.
KetoCon? Anybody? I'll be at KetoCon, so if y'all happen to go, look me up. I'll be hanging around somewhere, probably trying to stalk, Sean Baker or somebody like that. So,
Listen, everybody, this has been great. You all take care of
yay,
yourselves.
you're going. Look me up.
Be positive. Eat your meat. Drink your water. Follow your macros. Do whatever you're doing to take care of yourselves. And hey, most of all, always remember, be thankful for what you got.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining, y'all.
We'll see you all next week. Be well.
Bye.
Or excuse me, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Be well.